The most effective manipulators don't need to win the argument. They need you to keep explaining yourself. Because the moment you start defending, you've already stepped inside their frame. And that's where they have control. And if you've ever walked away from an argument thinking, oh, wait, what just happened here? They were able to gain the upper hand. But you didn't lose the argument. You lost the frame. And this is the part that most people never spot. But once you see the shift happening, the second your reaction becomes the focus, you've got your opening. And that's when the real move becomes possible. And I'll show you exactly what that is in a moment. My name is Christina, and I help people rewire the patterns that keep them repeating toxic cycles with manipulators and narcissists. So when I said they're controlling the frame, that may have resonated with you because you've felt it before, right? That moment where suddenly the conversation isn't about what they did. It's about how you reacted. And that's not random. It's a tactic. And it's called frame control. And it's one of the most subtle but powerful forms of manipulation out there. So here's what it means. The frame is the lens that defines what the situation is about. It decides the story you're standing in. Who's right and who's wrong? Who's being too much and who's calm and reasonable? And who now looks defensive or irrational? And manipulative people know that whoever controls the frame controls the narrative. And if they control the narrative, they don't even have to be right. They just have to keep you explaining yourself. And you may have seen a prime example of this play out in real time during the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. There's a clip where Johnny says, "You punched me in the face." And Amber replies, "I didn't punch you, I hit you." And then she says, "You're being a baby. I didn't deck you. You're fine." And you may notice how the original frame, "You punched me in the face," gets switched up. Now the focus isn't on what she did. It's on whether or not he's overreacting. So at this point, he's no longer confronting her for being abusive. He's defending his pain threshold. And if you're thinking, well, this is just gaslighting, well, you're close. But frame control is just one of the bricks in the wall that is gaslighting. And it's one of the first moves manipulators use to set the stage. Because before they can make you question your reality, they have to change the meaning of what's happening. So instead of arguing about what they did, you're stuck proving that your reaction is reasonable. And then by the time they start denying things, twisting facts, or saying that never happened, you might already be too disoriented to push back. Because here's the truth. Your brain isn't trying to win the argument. It's trying to stay safe. And until you understand how that's being hijacked, you can't interrupt the cycle. But once you get this, you're ready to end that manipulation cold. So let's break this down. When someone flips the frame and they suddenly make you the problem about your tone, your memory, or how dramatic you're being, your nervous system doesn't see it as a debate to win. It sees it as a threat to connection, and maybe as a threat to safety. And for most people who have endured emotional abuse, that kind of threat is so urgent, it almost feels life-threatening. Because your brain has been trained to believe, if I can prove I'm not overreacting, maybe they'll hear me. Or if I can just explain myself clearly enough, I'll stay safe. And when that happens, your body goes into overdrive. Your heart rate spikes a little, your throat tightens, and you feel that weird buzzing in your chest. And that's like a switch in your nervous system flipping from calm to alert. It's saying something's wrong, fix it fast. And the fastest way it's learned to fix it is to explain. Because at some point in your life, that probably worked. So maybe growing up explaining yourself was the only way to avoid punishment or to get someone to finally understand you. So your brain wired that pattern in. Clarity equals safety. But manipulators know this, and they exploit that exact reflex. So they trigger the deep discomfort within you, and then keep moving the target. So you never actually reach relief. You just keep talking, trying to land somewhere that feels safe again. And here's the sneaky part. The more dysregulated you get, the more you try to earn understanding, and the calmer they look by comparison. So now you look emotional and they look reasonable, and their frame is secured and their game is won. That's why the key isn't to argue better or explain faster. It's to regulate first. You have to bring your body back online before your brain can even see the manipulation for what it is. Because once you're in fight or flight, your system can't tell the difference between proving your innocence and fighting for your life. It feels the same. And that's why these conversations are so exhausting. You're not just defending your point. You're trying to survive the feeling of being misunderstood. So before I show you the psychological move that ends this kind of manipulation cold, you need to understand this part. Because if your nervous system is hijacked, even the best comeback in the world won't work. You'll still be playing by their rules. And here's what makes this all really tricky. It's not just psychological, it's actually biological. And that's really the part that most people miss. We think that we can come up with the best comebacks to shoot them down. And that works to some extent sometimes. But if your entire nervous system is dysregulated, you're open to attack. And any skilled manipulator will see that and know that if they keep pushing, they can break past your pre-planned comebacks and get you right back into defensive mode. So to strengthen your defenses, you need to understand your nervous system, which is basically your body's memory bank. It stores every emotional pattern you've ever used to stay safe, even the ones that stopped working a long time ago. So when someone flips the frame on you, your body doesn't stop to analyze whether you're actually in danger. It just scans for familiar patterns. And if your body's been through emotional chaos before, maybe growing up around unpredictable people or walking on eggshells, it recognizes this kind of tension instantly. So then that same survival program lights up like, oh, I know this one. If I can just make them understand, I'll be safe again. So before your conscious brain even forms a thought, your body is already reacting. And that's a crucial part of this process that most people don't ever learn. You see, we tend to think that our thoughts cause our physical reactions, that we get tense because we're having anxious thoughts. And that's true with rumination. But in the heat of the moment, the complete opposite is true. Your body is firing first. It floods you with stress chemicals. Your heart rate goes up, your breathing changes, and then your mind scrambles to make sense of it all. But here's the big problem. In that state of heightened nervous system dysregulation, the only thoughts available to you are thoughts that are going to diffuse the threat. Thoughts like, if I can prove I'm not overreacting, maybe they'll hear me. And if I can just explain myself clearly enough, I'll stay safe. In that state of heightened dysregulation, you're not able to access the kind of thoughts that help you restore your power. And that's why you might be able to pre-plan and rehearse a comeback to use in those moments. But you're not able to come up with anything on the fly. And this is how manipulative people can easily bulldoze your pre-planned comeback and instantly regain control. And so until your body knows it's safe, it can't even access the part of you that could end the manipulation. And that's why this next part, the power move, works so well. Because once you understand how to bring your nervous system back online, you can stop reacting from that old programming, and then you can stop playing their game altogether. So here's how you stop it cold. You stop responding to the content and start responding to the context. But first, we have to address the nervous system piece, because here's the truth. You can't outthink a state you're still trapped in. If your nervous system is screaming danger, it doesn't care about clever comebacks. It just wants the discomfort to stop. And that's exactly why manipulation works, because they know how to make your body react before your brain even has a chance to catch up. But here's the understanding that can help you regain control in those moments. Your body isn't responding to them, to the narcissist or the manipulative person. It's responding to every unresolved moment that ever felt like this. That flash of panic is your system recognizing an old pattern and saying, there's a fire, quick, put it out. But the thing is, your body isn't checking to see if there's actually smoke this time. It's reacting to the memory of smoke. It's like a fire alarm that still goes off because it once saved your life, even though now it's just burnt toast. So you start explaining yourself, apologizing, defending, anything to make the alarm stop. And the manipulator knows this. They know if they can set off the alarm, your body will do the rest. And that's why awareness matters so much. Because once you realize it's not an actual fire, it's an old alarm, you can stop grabbing the hose. So that's the pivot point that gives you enough power to actually respond to content over context, regardless of what they throw at you. Because now the part that can actually choose strategy, your prefrontal cortex, comes back online. And that's when the external move lands and you can lean into responses that will shift the dynamic, no matter what they say or do. And you can use responses like, it's interesting how the focus keeps shifting away from the real issue. Or, I'm noticing how this conversation keeps looping back to my reaction instead of your behavior. And maybe let's pause. This doesn't feel like a productive direction right now. And you'll be able to say these things from a calm, assertive place of presence that sends the message that you're in control and you're not giving it back. From here, the manipulative person will be less likely to continue pushing. But if they do, you'll be able to respond on the fly from that same place of calm, assertive presence. And this will work every time because you're no longer fighting for oxygen. You're back in command of your physiology, and they'll be able to feel that. It changes the entire energy of the room. They may still talk, but if you're holding the frame and you're not giving it up, that's the real psychological move that ends manipulation cold. The words are important, but what's more important is your shift in state. Because as I always say, when you're easily triggered, you're easily manipulated. And once you know that, you stop being a participant in their control. You become an observer of it. Because the truth is, you can't permanently outsmart manipulation until you rewire the reflex that keeps you reacting to it. And that's the work I help people with every day, retraining your nervous system to recognize safety faster, to stop defending, and to start leading with calm authority instead of survival mode. So if you're ready to learn how to shift that reflex, not just in arguments, but in how you show up everywhere, I'd love to help you do that. And you can learn more about my coaching programs by clicking right here. And if you haven't seen my video on how manipulators train you to lower your standards, that one connects everything we've talked about here on a deeper level. Click here to watch, and I'll walk you through exactly how they condition your nervous system to confuse love with approval.